Hey everybody, this is Joe Murphy from Allegheny Immigration Group. I'm on live tonight to talk to you about the latest developments in the exciting Liberian Green Card program. Now, as many of you know, I've been working very hard on that for most of this year, and I will be through the end of the program, which is on December 20th, 2020. For those of you who are not already familiar with the Liberian Green Card program, this is a program that allows Liberian nationals inside the United States to apply for and receive U.S. green cards, and they can also get work permits. The qualifications for the program: Liberian national physically present since November 20th, 2014, no more than 180 days out of the United States since that time, and no major crimes. If you fit those three, you're probably going to qualify for a Liberian green card. Now, I've been doing these lives, trying to do them once a week to give people updates on the program as it develops. My last one was about new guidance from USCIS, and here is my report for this week. The largest population of Liberians in the United States is in a suburb of Minneapolis called Brooklyn Park, and there's another town called Brooklyn Center. And there are more Liberians there than any place outside of Liberia itself. Right after this green card was signed into law, there was a great big celebration out there. It was called the Victory Celebration. I had the honor of attending. They even let me speak on stage. I met some great friends, had a great time. I have been visiting Brooklyn Park every 2 weeks for most of this year. Obviously not right now with coronavirus, I'm shut down, but I think I will shortly be starting that practice back up. I've got a lot of business out there. Just had another local person hire me on today, and I miss my friends in Brooklyn Park. I'm on tonight to tell you about some new developments in this exciting program. This is going to be streamed live. Right now, the people who are watching me live, you can ask questions. If you have any questions, you can jump on this live, or you could type them in the little text bar. I'll be happy to answer them. That's what I'm here for. I'm here to support you and guide you through this process. It's only a year-long program, so I want to be a source of support and give you information as I get information as my clients go through the program. Bumps, hiccups, forks in the road, things that you can learn from and maybe avoid with your green card program. If you want to speak to me privately, you can do that. You can call me at the office. That's 412-521-2000. My cell, text, and WhatsApp are all the same number, 412-973-3442. Don't hesitate to use those. People call me all the time, and you can too. My name is Joe Murphy. I'm a lawyer with the Allegheny Immigration Group in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. We practice primarily family and humanitarian immigration, and humanitarian immigration involves things like asylum claims and like the Liberian Green Card program. So this is right up our alley. All right, so let's get into it here. I mean, the first thing you have to remember, and I've got these dates down, is time is running out. This is a year-long program. Today is April 17th, 2020, which means that 118 days of the program are gone. For those of you that are statistically inclined, that's 32% of the program. You guys have got to take this timeline seriously. You've got to get these applications in and get that green card. They're going to end this program, and you're not going to be able to get into it. We will keep taking the applications for now, but we're not going to be taking them right to the end. It takes time to process these. If you bring an application that you want filed to me on December 19th, 2020, there's just no way I'll be able to get that done. We're probably going to cut it off in maybe the first week of November, because beyond that, we won't have the time to process everybody through. But on that note, we're still running the Liberian Green Card special. That was extended through the end of April, and that special is $3,000 out the door. That includes the Liberian Green Card, work permit based on Liberian Green Card, all legal fees, and all filing fees. So this is a great deal. The only thing that's not included is the medical exam. I don't have the right type of education or license to give a medical exam, so you'll have to go to an immigration approved doctor. You can't get your immigration medical from your family doctor. It has to be someone that is in the USCIS book. I've got that web address here. It'll probably be put up on the wall later, but I'm going to read it to you. It's my.uscis.gov/findadoctor, and that's all one word, FINDADOCTOR. If you go to that website, you can put in your zip code, and it'll give you a list of immigration approved doctors in your area that can give you an immigration medical. On the medicals now are different. About 2 years ago, they changed the law. In the old days, medicals were good for a year. You could get your medical, sit on it, file it at your leisure. The new medicals are only good for 60 days. That means that if you take your medical today, we have got to research, draft, file, collect all the documents, and get your petition in within 60 days. That might not be possible. And the reason why is it's taken USCIS about 30 days to even recognize something's there now. They're kind of busy with Corona. So we really have only 30 days. And it might be the case that by the time your application got on the examiner's desk, the medical had expired. They'd send it back. You'd have to buy a new medical. Those cost a couple $100 each. So our advice to people right now is to file first. After you file, a couple weeks after you file, 4 or 5 weeks after you file, you'll get a receipt for filing, and you'll have a file number. It could be file number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. that. Get your medical later and then mail it to the same place you mailed your application and say, please add this medical exam to file 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's as simple as that, and you don't get rushed, and that's important. One of the neat things that we're learning is about the spouses and children rule. The Liberian Green Card Act, it's called the Liberian Refugee Immigration Fairness Act, specifically says who qualifies, and those are the things I said. Continuously present since November 20th, 2014, no more than 180 days outside the United States since November 20th, 2014, and no major crimes. If you can prove those things, you get into this program. But the spouses and children of people who can prove those things can also get a Liberian green card. There was a big question in a lot of minds about what if the person who qualifies isn't filing or has already got their green card? And that was clarified by USCIS guidance about 10 days ago. And in that guidance, it says you have to, as the spouse or child, someone who qualifies for the Liberian green card, you have to file either with them or after them. So if the Liberian green card qualified person, and that could be your parent or your husband or wife, if they're not filing, you can't file for the Liberian green card either. If they've already got their citizenship, if they've decided they don't want to file for the Liberian green card, then as the spouse or child of that person, you can't file piggybacked on their application. So that's kind of a disappointing development in the sense that I thought there was all sorts of opportunities to get lots and lots of people in on this program, and that's not the case. Inadmissibility is always an issue in any immigration matter. People get worried. There are things that make you inadmissible. If you've done crimes, if you murdered someone or committed arson, those are all grounds of inadmissibility. Inadmissibility means you can't be let in the United States, and you can't change or extend your status if you're already in the United States. There are 8 grounds for inadmissibility. 4 of them don't apply to this program at all. If you're applying under the Liberian Green Card program, half of the reasons you might not be able to get a green card don't apply to you. The first one that does not apply is what's called labor certification. You don't have to have a job offer. You don't even have to be looking for a job, and you can still get your green card. You can have entered the country illegally or have overstayed your visa, and that's called aliens present without admission or parole. This does not apply to people under the Liberian Green Card Act. So I have a client who was a stowaway. He entered the United States riding in the belly of a 747 with the luggage. Normally, that would prevent him from getting any sort of immigration benefit. He's a border jumper. That's an illegal alien, really is. But there's an exemption for that in the Liberian Green Card program. So if you're overstayed your visa or even are illegally present in the United States, you can still apply for the Liberian Green Card. The next one is documentation requirements. People worry because, well, again, if you illegally enter the United States, you might not even have a passport. You don't have to apply for the Liberian Green Card. And if your passport's expired, you would normally not be able to adjust in the United States, but that has been waived too. And the final one, which is great news, is the public charge rule. On the application for green card, it's the new item 61 on page 14. It asks you, are you exempt from a public charge determination? If you're applying under the Liberian Refugee Immigration Fairness Act, that's the Liberian Green Card program, you get to check that box, number 61, yes, I'm exempt. And you skip on to question 63A. You get to skip all those questions about public charge because as someone applying under the Liberian Green Card program, you're exempt from a public charge determination. That's really nice because all that public charge work is a lot of a pain in the ear. All right, another one that's kind of interesting with the Liberian Refugee Immigration Fairness Act is the problem of having worked without a permit. Most people know that if you work without a permit in the United States, you can't get a green card. There's a workaround for that with the Liberians. Most green cards in the United States are issued under Section 245A of the Immigration and Nationality Act. And you can't get a 245A card if you've worked without permission. That says it right in actually Section 245C. So the Liberian Green Card program isn't a Section 245 card at all. It comes under an odd little law. It's called the Defense Authorization Act for fiscal year 2020. And that does not have an exclusion. So you can admit to having worked without a permit and still get your green card. You can actually, on the question where it asks, have you worked without authorization, you can actually say yes. And if you're applying for a green card under the Liberian Green Card program, that won't prevent you from getting it. So those are some of the interesting things about it. Those are some really nice breaks that they cut the Liberians. There are some things that we've been seeing that give people trouble getting the green card. One, obviously, is the criminal history. On the application for green card, you have to disclose any interactions with law enforcement that you've had. And anything more serious than a petty traffic offense, you're going to have to submit a certified record of whatever court disposition there was. The rule in the Liberian Green Card program is that if you have committed any aggravated felonies, there's a list of them in the Immigration Nationality Act. Aggravated felonies are really outrageous acts of murder, rape, arson, political sabotage, extortion, just crazy stuff. If you've done any of those things, you can't get your Liberian green card. The other thing that gives a lot of confusion is what are called 2 or more crimes of moral turpitude. Crimes of moral turpitude is kind of an odd term of language. It doesn't mean immoral acts necessarily. It means crimes that the fact that you did them discloses perhaps some kind of moral defect. The big thing that they're using crimes of moral turpitude for now is to punish people who have multiple DUIs. So if you have one of those aggravated felonies, or if you have two or more crimes of moral turpitude, you're going to need something called a waiver of inadmissibility. We can help you with that, but you're going to need to spend more money. You can't do that in the $3,000 green card special. You're going to have to pay extra money to get a waiver of your inadmissibility. All right, another one that's causing problem for a lot of my Liberian green card applicants is marriage fraud. Liberians were smart. They didn't want to go home, and a lot of them got into marriages that weren't really the most traditional North American marriages. They wanted those green cards, and marriage was a way to do it. And some of them were denied. In and of itself, that's not a nightmare situation. But some of those denials are, well, there's 2 types, right? The one denial, which is not a big deal, is just the regular old you failed to meet your burden of proof denial. And that's kind of like you went to the store and you didn't have enough money to pay for everything you put on the counter. That's no big deal. That won't stop you from getting a Liberian green card, and it won't even require any more fees. The other type of denial of green card through marriage is where they've concluded that you did a fraud. This is bad news. If you've been involved in one of those green card schemes or something like that and they caught you, they're going to deny that green card, and you're not going to be able to get any other green card of any type in any program until you can clear that out. The way you find out is you got to look at the letter denying it. If it just says you failed to meet your burden of proof, that's the first type. It's no big deal. It won't even increase the cost of the Liberian green card program. If it's the second type, it'll say you failed to meet your burden of proof, and it'll also say things like fraud, sham, entered into a marriage to evade immigration law. If you see that language in your denial letter, you're going to need help, okay? And that will increase the cost of your participation in the Liberian green card program, because we've got to find a way to get you out of that, whether that's going to be a waiver or some mechanism to relitigate the case in the first place. It doesn't matter, but we've got to get you out of that determination, because once that determination has been made, not only can no petition be filed on your behalf by anyone, but you can't get a green card from any program anyway. So that's pretty bad. That's that second type of green card through marriage denial, and that's where they've determined you had a fraud. My name's Joe Murphy. I'm a lawyer with Allegheny Immigration Group. My practice is primarily family and humanitarian immigration. My office number is 412-521-2000. My cell, text, and WhatsApp are all the same number, 412-973-3442. I make videos like this about the Liberian green card and other important and exciting immigration benefits. You could see a lot of my work on our Allegheny Immigration Group Facebook page and the Allegheny Immigration Group YouTube channel. We're running a special right now through the end of April. It's on the Liberian green card. It's application for Liberian green card, application for work permit based on Liberian green card. All legal fees and all filing fees is $3,000 out the door. Boom, that's it. Unless you have one of these complicated factors that I'm discussing right now, you will qualify for that deal. The only thing that's not included, like I said, is if you have one of the complicating factors I've been discussing. And the other thing that's not included is a medical exam. I'm a lawyer, not a doctor. You have to go to a doctor to get the medical exam. And remember, I gave you that website where you can look up the immigration doctors, and I'll read you that web address again. my.uscis.gov/findadoc, and you'll put in your zip code, and it'll give you a list of immigration qualified doctors in your neighborhood. Now, we were talking about things that could prevent or complicate an otherwise qualified person from getting a Liberian green card, and we went over criminal history and the marriage fraud conviction. The last thing that won't actually prevent you but will increase your cost is whether you're in asylum, deportation, removal proceedings in immigration court. This doesn't necessarily knock you out of the Liberian green card program. The Act provides that you could file for and even receive the Liberian green card while you're in asylum or deportation, even if an order of asylum or deportation or removal has been entered against you, and even if you've agreed to leave and didn't leave, you could still file for the Liberian green card. So that it's not going to prevent you from getting the Liberian green card. What it's going to do is complicate our work. We're going to have to interact with the immigration court to get that case closed and your name cleared so you can adjust. So there will be additional fees, again, if you have the criminal interaction, where you have a marriage fraud problem, or where you have interaction with the immigration court. Anyway, that special is $3,000 $3,000 out the door through the end of April. We extended a month because of coronavirus. I will be starting the trips to Brooklyn Park soon. I have a feeling we've turned the corner with this whole corona mess. I hope I'm right, and I'll be seeing my friends out in Brooklyn Park. I've got court out there on May 20th, so I don't know. I'm going to be out there by the end of that month anyway. If anybody has any questions, you can feel free and type them right in, or you can jump on the live. I'll be happy to talk to you. Those of you who maybe you're shy or you don't want to jump in the live, maybe you don't want to put your business on the street, that's fine. But if you'd like to speak to me privately, again, my name's Joe Murphy. I'm a lawyer with Allegheny Immigration Group. The office number is 412-521-2000. My cell, text, and WhatsApp are all the same number, 412-973-3442. People call me all the time, and you can too. I'm happy to talk to people. I want to be here as a resource for you, support you, and guide you through your immigration concerns. So that's the Liberian Green Card program. It's a good program. It's a great program. There's a lot of things you don't have to do that almost every other immigrant group does. We discussed it. You don't have to have a sponsor. You don't have to have a marriage where you have to prove income and that the marriage is bona fide. You don't have to have a job. You could be on public benefits. You could even be in deportation, and you can still get in this program. If you are a Liberian national physically present in the United States since November 20th, 2014, with no more than 180 days outside the United States and no major crimes, you probably qualify for it. The thing is, the program is already 1/3 over. There's about 250 something days left in the Liberian Green Card program. Don't miss this. Okay, I meet people every day who missed the 1986 amnesty, and they've been kicking themselves ever since. This stuff doesn't come around, and it probably won't last forever. And the reason why is because it's so great. There's too many people could use it. Trump signed this thing, and in very Trumpian fashion, he said, give these people a year, make them get the green cards, or get the hell out. And that's what this is. So do take advantage of it. Now, there are people who came after the cutoff. There are options for them. I mean, the big one I discussed earlier, if they're the children or spouses of people who qualify, they can apply with or after their qualifying spouse or parent. But what if they're none of those? What if they came in 2017 and they're not married to or the child of someone who qualifies for the Liberian program? Okay, there's great Liberian asylum claims now. Historically, Liberians filed some asylum claims. That was just to stay in the country. Some of those claims were not the greatest claims in the world. One of the biggest problems Liberians had with their asylum claims is that the rule is generally that you have to file for asylum within 1 year of entering the country. Many Liberians laid low for a while, maybe signed up for temporary protected status, and by the time they needed to assert their asylum claim, the year was over. So because of that, large numbers of these Liberian asylum claims ended up getting denied. There's an exception to the 1 year rule where things have changed at home. Or you have changed, but primarily it's when things have changed at home. So what changed? Well, there was a official recognition by a U.S. congressman that Liberia's condition is worsening. It's on congressional record. I have the document in my office. And that was on December 29th of 2019. So effectively, that statement reinvigorates the Liberian asylum claims in the sense of the 1 year rule. The rest of it is not that hard to prove out. Liberia does, in fact, have a worsening political situation. Women's rights are an issue. Same-sex rights are an issue. There's corruption. And those are all really good claims for asylum. If you'd like to talk about a Liberian asylum claim, I'm here to help you with that. Asylum's a very important part of my human rights practice, and I would love to hear from you. I've got a couple of those going right now. Always room for more. Anyway, this is Joe Murphy. I'm a lawyer with Allegheny Immigration Group. I practice primarily family and humanitarian immigration. My office number is 412-521-2000. My cell, text, and WhatsApp are all the same number, 412-973-3442. I encourage you to look at the Allegheny Immigration Group Facebook page and YouTube channel where you can see other informative videos like this. I'll be posting lives, but some of them are like polished. There's all kind of cool titles. I suspect this one will eventually be cut up into pieces and titles will be put on it too. But really, thank you for watching. And from all of us here at Allegheny Immigration Group, good night.